As it's me, it's Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. So, I got a message from a woman, and she told me that she really would like me to explain more about self love. She's kind of tricky, kind of confused about this idea of self love because she feels like sometimes she gives herself love and sometimes she doesn't. So she's like, well, what does that mean exactly? Am I loving myself or do I not? And what do I do about it? So let me talk more about this because I think it's worthy of exploration. Number one, loving yourself is when you fully love yourself, mind, body, and spirit. So most people love themselves to a certain extent or in some areas, and some people don't love themselves at all. So what does that look like? Remember, I said mind, body, spirit. So if a person is taking care of their body, for example, they're exercising, they're eating right. I have a client like this. My client is very funny about anything that goes into her body. She only eats meat that's grass fed, chickens. It's like it has to be like this whole special thing. Other than that, she won't eat it. She drinks a certain kind of water. She's very funny about all those kinds of things. She doesn't like coffee. She doesn't eat sugar. She's very funny about what she will let into her body. But at the same time, she's in an abusive relationship and she's been in it for 5 years. So it's like, well, do you love yourself or not? Well, yeah, you love yourself enough not to poison yourself with things that you have deemed to be bad for you, but you don't love yourself not to poison yourself with another person. So I think that what people are missing is that people love themselves to different extents. Some people don't love themselves at all. Mind, body, spirit, remember I said? So they don't take care of their body. So they might wash their body. They might even dress their body nicely when they feel like it, but they don't go to the doctor. They don't go to the dentist. They don't do things like even, I'm not even saying be a health nut, but like get a vegetable in you once a week. Do some exercising a few times a week, things like that. I'm not saying you have to be perfect with any of these categories, but that you do put effort towards them. If you put effort towards mind, body, spirit, then you more than likely are showing enough love to yourself. If you're not putting in effort, mind, body, and spirit, then you're not giving yourself enough love. So she's one example. She's, really into her body, but she's just not into anything else. As far as like her relationship is very, very abusive. But that's not the only thing. She has mental health issues. She has depression and anxiety, and she doesn't address it. She's not seeing anybody for it. She didn't read any of the self-help books I recommended to her. So she's loving herself to a certain extent. And I think that's where people get tripped up. Because if I say to her, you need to give yourself more love, she'll say, well, I do love myself. I take myself to the spa. And she'll go down all the ways that she loves herself, but misses all the ways that she does not. And then I have to point all those out, and then she says I'm nitpicking. But these are important. It's important to love yourself, mind, body, and spirit. You can't just love yourself in certain ways and in certain categories. It's not enough. I'll give you another example. I have a client that's a mother. She's a very good mother, too. She's one of those kind of mothers that's very dedicated to her children. And we were talking about how she has anxiety, bad anxiety, to the point they put her on anxiety medicine. And I told her, I said, you can address that without medication if you choose to, but you would need to talk to a therapist. You would need to do daily meditations. You would need to start reading. You would need to really get into what is making you anxious and really dig to the bottom of it. And she said to me, well, I don't have time. I don't have time to do that because my children are with me from the time they wake up until the time we go to sleep. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, so you love yourself enough to represent as a good mother, take good care of your children. You love yourself enough to, get up and do certain things for yourself, such as grooming. But you don't love yourself enough to find a way to get off of the medicine that you hate taking and don't want to take no more, because you won't make time for yourself. Making time for yourself is part of loving yourself. I have a male client. He works 2 jobs. And it's very clear to me that he needs to do some emotional work. He has a lot of emotional things that he just has detached from that are underneath the surface. And right now in his life, he's working. He's an Aquarius. He's working his ass off to ignore, because this is what we do. We work our ass off to ignore what's bothering us. So I'm telling him, make time to meditate, make time to do these therapeutic things, make time to work on forgiveness. And he's telling me, oh, I don't have enough time. And I'm like, but let's keep it real, because some of my clients call me the thug priestess. They always tease me because I'm like, let's keep it real here. You have time to go on dates. You have time to have sex. You have time to go watch sports with your buddies at the bar. But you don't have time to meditate. You don't have time to see your therapist. You don't have time to do the exercises, the therapeutic exercises that your therapist did give you. You don't have time for those things, which those things are all part of loving yourself. Now, recreation is part of loving yourself too. It's important for him to unwind. He works 2 jobs. So I think it's important for him to find recreation, or to have recreation, because he don't need to find it anymore. He got it. But it's also important for you to address the other areas that are coming up and plaguing your life. So my thing is that I think there's a lot of people love themselves, like I said, to a certain extent. If you're not loving yourself at all, if you're not working, doing things to keep your body clean and keep your body going to the doctor, things like that, preferably exercise and preferably eating as good for your body as you possibly can, because all our bodies are different. So if you're doing that, and then you're also taking care of your mental, your emotional, your spiritual needs, then you're a well-balanced person, and you more than likely are giving yourself enough love. But if you're lacking in areas, then you're not giving yourself enough. And that's just the bottom line. So it's not to say, oh, you don't love yourself at all. I think when people hear you need to do loving yourself work, they, like I said before, they start telling me how they do. They're not listening. They're trying to tell me, yeah, I do, because I do blah, blah, blah. But you don't do blah, blah, blah. And these are important. So it's not that you totally don't love yourself. It's you're not giving yourself enough love. Maybe we need to do it on a percentage. Okay, you're giving yourself 20%. By the end of the week, you should be giving yourself 30 more percent, Or let's say the ones who don't give themselves any at all. There are some people who don't do any of these things for themselves. So they don't take really good care of their selves, their body, their health. They don't even look into those kind of things or care about them, read about them even. They don't look into their mental health, their emotional health, their spiritual health. If something's going wrong in their life, they don't even freaking address it. They just let life kind of happen to them. Those are people who don't love themselves at all. But if you are getting the message from the cards or from your, from wherever, because most of the time they come up in the cards. But if you're getting that message from anywhere and you're thinking to yourself, I do love myself, make a list of all the ways that you don't. What things are you not doing lovingly for yourself? And it might be a short list and it might be a long list. But whatever is on that list, that's what you need to focus on, not what you're already doing. Like I said, everybody always takes me directly to what they are doing. And I'm like, but look at what you're not doing. Because that's the area that needs focus. That's the area that's lacking. All the other areas are good. You're taking care of your let's say, for like with me, I take care of my emotional health pretty good. I didn't always. When I was younger, I didn't give myself nowhere near enough love. Nowhere near it. But I took somewhat care. Like I would take care, making sure I look nice and smell good, things like that. Went to the doctor every year, things like that. But I wasn't exercising. I still don't do enough of that. And my food intake is iffy at best. Sometimes I don't even eat enough, or if I do eat, it's bullshit. Like I'll eat some junk. I'll eat brownies for lunch, or something like that. Things that I ain't got no business doing. So giving myself love in my emotional health and my spiritual health, my mental health. I'm always making sure I'm well read and I'm feeling good and things like that. I do all my meditations and my chantings, but I need to get my food intake right, and I really need to exercise more. So, like I said, you can't say, oh, you're not giving yourself any love, but it's still not enough. And for me, it's just gradually increased. When I was young, it just wasn't there at all. It just wasn't there. And as I got older, I started to see the importance, so I started to do it. And it's gradually just going up. And that's the only thing you really can do about it, is gradually work on the areas that you're weak in. Underneath this video, I'm going to leave for you guys a book called Love Yourself Workbook. So those of you who really want to work on this can get this workbook, and the workbook will take you through step by step of how to give yourself more love. This isn't a race, and nobody's perfect. So if you can give yourself more love, let that be the goal. Don't look at the goal like, okay, I want to be balanced and loving myself, mind, body, and spirit by the end of next week. Don't set yourself up for failure. Just decide, I want to gradually give myself more love by taking care of the areas in my life that I'm not looking at. I want to gradually give myself more and let it just keep on increasing. And for your first exercise to get you into this, make a list of the ways that you don't love yourself. What are you not doing? Are you fiercely protecting yourself from negativity and from harm? Are you making sure that your career pays you what you're worth? Are you in a position career-wise where you're making the money that you deserve doing something that you love to do? That's part of loving yourself. Are you making sure that you have healthy boundaries with your friends and your family? Those things are really important, because a lot of times when a person, and she even mentioned this to me, she says she feels like she gives love to other people but not herself. That's a distraction. So you're giving away all your attention and all your focus, so you don't have to focus on what's wrong with you. So that's just you playing games. That's you playing mental games with yourself. You see, a lot of us do that. I've done that too. You focus so much on your mama, on your kids, on your neighbors, on your friends, that you are distracting yourself from the things that are going wrong in your own life. So if you truly love yourself, give yourself 30 minutes a day to work on yourself. That's my challenge to you. Give yourself 30 minutes a day. If you can't work on yourself for 30 minutes a day, you're definitely not giving yourself enough love, because you're not giving yourself enough of your own attention. You see? All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. Tell me what you think about this. Do you love yourself to any extent? 5%, 95%, any extent. Let me know in the comment section, because this year, I think one of the things that's really important, especially for me, is looking at the areas where I'm not loving myself and give myself more in those areas. And it would be great if you guys took that journey right along with me. The year is almost over, so we got to get on this. If you would like a reading, please email me and I will give you an appointment. Likewise, if you want to be one of my patrons on Patreon, I will link I'll put the link in the description below. Also, you'll see everything underneath there to contact me. I'm on social media and I'm all over the place. So check me out, okay? See you later.